label the email with their company name or whatever and label it as a lead. And then I'll jump over to Claude and say, okay, we got a new lead. And it'll pull in that information, and then it'll actually go out and research the company for me. Yeah, I have a prompt where I vet the company by saying, what's the industry, what's the ask, what's the skill crossover, is this totally in my wheelhouse, is this something I need a little help with? Is this somebody who's fly-by-night, who's expecting to pay $10 an hour for a developer? It just kind of helps vet it. It doesn't make the decision for me, but it speeds that up so I don't have to go looking at that stuff myself. And the nice thing is that once it starts, you can just kind of let it run. So I will fire that up and I'll go back over to another task and come back 5 minutes later and see what it came up with and make the decision how I want to proceed with the client, with the lead.
So. And then it'll save all that so you later on, a week later, you can review it before you...
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole purpose of the knowledge base is so the AI can remember, because AIs don't tend to remember session to session. You fire it up a week later and it's not going to know what the previous session necessarily did. But if you can keep a repository of knowledge with the history, like using Git as to track revisions of files and addition and stuff, yeah, you're just got historical context there. Helps me too, because my memory is not what it used to be. So I can always remember and go back and say, yeah, that's how that worked. And so it's really helped me in that regard. And I threw together some quick mock-ups of what my dashboard looks like. This is just fake client names and stuff. The reason I didn't do an interactive demo is because I don't have anything I could really share publicly. But yeah, go for it.
For the knowledge base, do you just put essentially like how to use that in your Claude or your skills.md and essentially explain how to navigate the file system, or?
Yep. There's Claude's got a global memory where you can store stuff, but it also has, skills, and it's literally just a directory with different text files for different skills, and so you can tell it to invoke the skill. And so if I fire up Claude in a fresh session in a client knowledge base for a specific client, and I see it's getting tripped up, I can remind it, hey, use the skills, the knowledge base skill set, and then it's like, oh yeah. Usually it remembers to do it. Sometimes it doesn't. You just got to give it a nudge. But yeah, I've got probably 4 or 5 dozen different skills in there. Everything ranging from business stuff to development, engineering stuff, different platforms, design, quality assurance. I mean, I've used skills before to have it actually Claude fire up a web browser and go and look at somebody's site and interact with it and test it out and have a skill, an agent with like a UI UX skill, tell me if it's like accessibility compliant, if the color contrast ratio is good on this. No. Why is the slideshow not working? It can actually figure that stuff out too, which is pretty cool.
So now those skills are ones that you created, and then you have a master skill that's like doing this whole knowledge base routine.
Yep. And those skills, some of them I created from scratch, some I found online. Like I do a lot of WordPress work, and the people out there that are smarter than me have created a lot of different skills for working with WordPress CMS, which is great.
We're talking about a skill. We're just talking about a markdown file.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Okay.
It's a skill is literally a set of instructions. It's a skill, but it's a set of instructions that you can give the AI, and it's really wonderful. Yeah.
Have you experimented with the agent SDK yet? Because that groups those skills together as one agent?
I haven't, but I've heard really good things. I do multi-agent a lot. Like if I'm working on a project that's pretty complex, I will, just in plain English, tell Claude, use the project management skill for one agent to oversee the project, use the engineering skill to write some code and do this, use this other skill. There's been times where Claude has fired up 5 different sub-agents, and it acts as the overseer. And one little Claude sub-agent will be writing code, another one will be quality checking it, another one will be, it's like spinning up a whole team, which is pretty cool. But I haven't messed with the SDK yet. That sounds really cool though.
I was just going to add on that you have to be careful with the skills, because there's only these 16,000 is the context of what Claude will pull in.
Yep.
And then another thing that would be a gotcha for people is you don't want overlapping skills. So you would think that more skills is better, but it's not. It's actually slightly smaller skills. So if you have project management, if you have 2 or 3 different skills for project management, it'll get confused.
Yep.
On like which ones to use, so I might use one time, one the next time, and overlap, and you have to be kind of careful with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sometimes too much information is confusing to the AI, anything overlapping, whatever. I kind of treat it like I would treat like an intern or a junior in the field. It's like, how would I explain this to somebody that is just, with less experience? And that's how I kind of treat the AIs. I don't assume that Claude knows anything, which it does. I mean, it is pretty darn smart, but really it's not thinking, it's pattern matching. You ask it to execute on something for you, like write this piece of code. It might match something in its training data that was posted on Stack Overflow 5 years ago that is now irrelevant. But if you give it guidance with a skill, a set of plain English instructions, like do it using it, this way, then it will actually have some guidance and know, and it'll find something that's more relevant to what you're actually trying to do.
How often do you have to, I mean, it sounds like you check everything before it goes out to a client.
Yep.
But how often are you having to adjust? Is it every time, or is it?
As far as like the deliverables?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's every time. Yeah. I use AI for a lot of stuff, but nothing goes out, whether it's code or whether it's an email or whatever, without me looking at it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that'll ever change. I just have that distrust, and I like to form relationships with clients, so I feel like if a tool is doing everything for me, then I just don't want to risk it,
Andrew,
Yeah.
appreciate all the questions and such, but maybe 5 minutes or so to wrap it up so we can get Jason up there.
I am taking up a lot more time than I thought.
It's okay, you're awesome, that's why.
Well, like this epic slide shows, there's the guardrails. Neighbor dog is Levon. You guys ever see Leon the Professional? You remember that movie with Natalie Portman from the 90s? Yeah, they made this AI version of Levon. Their dog is that dude. Anyway, this kind of goes over what you just asked. Like Claude will draft stuff for me. It'll analyze, it'll organize, it'll sync. It will build and maintain knowledge. It'll build code. It does not interact with my clients. It doesn't do anything without human guidance. I can set it loose on a task for 2 or 3 hours building a really big thing, but it's committing things, along the way to get, and ultimately before anything goes anywhere near even a staging environment for people to play with, I got eyes on it, It does not go out and just do stuff for me without me keeping a really close eye on it. Because sometimes I've seen it just do some really silly stuff, No matter how much instruction you give it, it can just go off the rails and just start hallucinating. Because, at the end of the day, it's not a brain, it's a really fancy pattern matching thing. So yeah, the big thing, the interconnectivity, I would say, is, if you guys have heard of MCP, Model Context Protocol, it's something that I think Anthropic came up with. Yeah. And that's the way that you connect to all these different sources. So there are MCPs available to connect your Claude or your ChatGPT or whatever to Gmail, to Calendar, to whatever, all these different systems. I used open source ones where I could. In some cases, there were ones that didn't exist, so I built them. And it's just kind of acts as like a layer on top of like an API, communication thing. So I've built several MCPs myself to help with my workflow. Like I work with a lot of static sites, and I can push it out and just have Claude purge the cache for me. Something as simple as that, so I don't have to log into the dashboard and do it. But yeah, I mean, it's really awesome, and I realize as an engineer, somebody who does this stuff, this is not necessarily something that just anybody could just spin up, because there's some manual process. But this is something that it's very much in its infancy as far as my operation goes. I've got cron scheduled tasks that are doing syncs and that are generating summaries and things like that, but there's a lot of manual intervention. This also only exists in my laptop. I have plans to make it available online in a very secure fashion. I just haven't fully wrapped my head around exactly how I want to do that. Lots of encryption and IP address restricting and multi-factor authentication for sure. And I would love to be able to have it so I can access it from anywhere in a secure way. Yeah.
So right now your entire knowledge base, but